Good evening, everybody. I'm a little delayed tonight. I was making an extra special graphic for you. In fact, I've got three different special graphics. We're going to talk about October weather as we zoom in on October tomorrow. October is my favorite month by far, and I think it has to do with the amount of changes we see in the weather pattern itself. I went back and I looked at the data from the last 7 years, and it's very consistent on the first big cold front of October occurring around the 14th, 15th, 16th, or 17th of the month. We're talking high temperatures fall back into the 60s, low temperatures, upper 30s, low 40s. I'm seeing signs way down the road, probably 2 weeks from now, which would coincide with that. So we're going to have to watch that, but I think there's something to that. There's also, I think it was, last year we had one early. It was like the 9th. I've got all that data coming up. You may have to sit through a commercial break, but I think we're going to get right to it. Behind me on radar, there's ground clutter. Some of that is bird activity, the big migration of birds. They're getting out of town. They're getting out of Dodge. They're headed to their winter spot, and you see that on the radar. Let me go ahead and show that to you. You can see it behind me, but you get that ground clutter pattern. It's been fairly persistent, but there's also some rain out there. Chattanooga getting some heavy rainfall, and that may drop down into DeKalb and Jackson County near Stevenson, near Mentone. You may get some heavy rain here in the next hour or so, but Lookout Mountain near Little River Management area. Yeah, Rayanne, you may get some rain that coming in from the north. But let's talk October weather after this view of the Parkway. It's still warm out there. Tomorrow night's going to be pretty warm at this time of night, too. We've got a backdoor wedge type cold front coming in. It's not going to be all that cold, though. But here's the first big cold front in the past 7 years. You go back October 25th in 2018. That's the longest we had to wait. And that was right before Halloween. It was a warm one. I think that was we had a bad drought. I'd have to go back and look at it more, but I think we actually hit 100 degrees late September, and it was a hot start to October. Hopefully we don't see that. But, there's a pretty common thread here. 13th, the 16th, the 15th, the 16th. Last year we had our first big cold front right around the 16th, and the high was 64, the low 37. So, and a lot of times these fronts have come in, and beyond that, we kind of shut off these upper 80s. We don't see them near as much. So it's bound to happen. I think in the next 2 weeks, we're probably going to see our first big cold front. I hope we do. Hopefully it's got a little bit of rain with it too, but those numbers kind of stick out. There's something to it. So again, the 16th, if I was a betting man, I'd bet something around the 16th or 17th this year. That, or you're thinking, it's not going to hit 16 again. Maybe it's going to be the 15th. Or maybe it's going to be the 25th like it was. Well, we've got our hurricane off the coast. It's causing all sorts of problems like a washing machine out there. This is Imelda. Our latest advisory is going to come out at 10 o'clock. You can get that on our First Alert weather app. But the only concerns would be if you're going to the coastal areas along the Atlantic coast, probably double red flags, issues there. Across at Cape Hatteras, they had more houses fall in the water. Oh, yeah, the grout went really good, Adam. I mean, no, I say that. It looks okay, but I hate grout. By the way, I'm grouting the tile in my shower, and I dread it. I do not like the grout at all. And it started out fine, but then I went and remixed some of the grout, and it just hardened up. It started hardening up too fast, but we'll get it finished tomorrow. And then the shower, all the bells and whistles in the shower itself get installed Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that. But this hurricane's only really impact for Bermuda. So again, Bermuda's dodged quite a few hurricanes, but they're facing a Cat 2 storm here tomorrow night. It looks like it may roll right through Bermuda. And that other big orange blob there, that's Umberto. And it's just kind of hanging out, kind of in the way. But it's not doing much. I think it's weakening. But here's your daily planner for tomorrow. We'll start the morning sunny and warming up quickly, 66 at 7 a.m., 79 at 11, and we'll probably top out in the mid-80s. Now, one thing that stopped the warm-up today, or at least kept it from accelerating too quickly, it was the cloud cover. Ears bother me tonight. Cloud cover out there. this morning. I don't see much rain this week. We'll get into that here, and here's tomorrow. We're going to see a few spotty showers, but far northern DeKalb County and Jackson County could see some heavy rain tonight. Behind me, well, I guess that's the graphics behind me over there that you don't quite see, but I can go full screen here. I thought he had just radar up there, so that's why I was referring to that. But again, you can kind of see that behind me. Go back to circle box. So we start pretty uneventful tomorrow morning. We're going to see, I need to adjust my wind. It looks like it's getting covered up. I'll have to fix that. But kind of another boring day, very, very similar to what we've had the last few days. And again, as we go into the afternoon, not much going on. We're going to see a few of these isolated rogue heavy downpours, but that's pretty much the brunt of it. Not much showing up here. Yeah, pretty nice out there tonight. If you didn't see this space station, boy, it flew over. It was bright tonight, that's for sure. It's coming by tomorrow. I think it's like 7:56. It's like a 6-minute pass tomorrow night, and you'll be able to see it. Here's your 3-day forecast, 86 tomorrow, and then we slowly drop down a bit, 83 Thursday, 81 Friday. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about what you can expect, what the average lows and high temperatures are for the month of October, as this is the last day of September. Goodbye, September. I'll be back in just a few minutes. 1 minute, to be exact. All right, let's talk the normal October high temperatures and low temperatures. We start off with temperatures above normal usually, and then in between, and as I was talking earlier, around the 15th, 16th, we get a good cold front, and it warms back up. It's not going to like stay cool for the eternity. But I tried to explain this on the post I made today on Facebook. What happens is we're getting less daylight per day, and I think we lose almost an hour of daylight throughout the month of October. And someone was trying to understand how that correlates with the temperatures. And what happens is this is accelerated the farther north you go in latitude. So you get up higher and higher up into Canada, and they're seeing a much more dramatic change day by day in the daylight. So when you have less daylight, you don't get as much sunlight to warm things up, so the atmosphere starts to cool. So over time, that cooler air kind of becomes its own air mass, and that air mass begins to shift and drop to the south. And that's how we get storms. That's why it's more active as we get into fall. And here's kind of a classic example here. This is the trend here. The October normal highs, we start off around 80, and we finish the month with a normal high around 69. So in between, we usually have a couple of decent cold fronts, and I think the first one will come towards the end of the second week of October, which is just not too far away. And then the normal low temperatures, this is where you really start to, October's kind of that cool mornings, cool evenings, occasionally get some rain. But we start off with overnight lows around 56. We may see that over the weekend. But then by Halloween, 46. And on November 2nd, we change our clocks. We go back to standard time, and the sun sets at 4:51. Yeah, on the burn ban, you got to kind of read into that, check with your local municipality, because The burn ban usually does not apply to like a patio fire, a solo stove, things like that. It's more for people trying to burn outdoors, large brush piles and things like that. But I remember when I moved down here, God, it's been 30 years ago, I had an older gentleman neighbor, and he was always insistent on burning his pile of leaves. That's the word. Don't burn those piles of leaves. Because, I mean, that's when you get the problem. And the Bermuda grass isn't dormant yet, but once that Bermuda grass goes dormant, it could take off in a hurry. It'll get away from you. I know that from experience. Actually, we were having a backyard little fire. You didn't miss much, Ian. You just have to go back and watch from the beginning. But I was out, and all of a sudden the grass fire took off across my backyard at my old house. The grass grew back better than ever, but I had to take fire brigade with buckets from the pool to put the fire out. So, and then I also one time I forget what kind of grass it is. It's this huge grass, clumps of grass. I forget the official name of it, but my neighbor told me once, yeah, I just set that on fire. So I set that on fire, and it was like almost took the power lines out. That thing took off. So you got to be careful with the flames. Here's your 10-day forecast. I'll give that to you. I'll get out of your way. Don't see anything here in the next 10 days. But I'm thinking, I'm going to go with, what I showed you. I'm thinking towards the end of the second week of October, I think we're going to get a cold front. Statistically, it happens around the 13th through the 17th of October. So we'll keep looking at that. And everybody decides to burn everything. It's like, yeah. So everybody gets a little anxious. But again, we're stuck with the 80s for a while. At least we're not stuck with the 90s. Some Octobers we've started off with record heat, and fortunately we're not. We're not in a drought. It's not that bad, and we had a lot of good rain last 7 days. So again, it's abnormally dry in some areas, but just don't burn anything that patio fire. I think you're fine. Barbecue, but just don't set your pile of leaves on fire. And definitely don't do it close to the fence. Well, you guys take care. I'll see you tomorrow night, unless you're tuning in tonight at 10. You guys take care. I appreciate you tuning in.